Okay, so there we go. So like I said, this is our food assistance provider call. This is our June call. We've been hosting these calls for about 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. And this is really an opportunity for all of us to share resources, identify gaps in services, address any food assistance provider needs, and really just create a space to share and to chat and to get to know each other. So I really appreciate you all being on these calls and joining us every month. And hopefully we'll be able to continue them moving forward. So again, I'm just going to reshare the agenda in the chat because I know if some folks just joined, you might not have seen that. Actually, Trin, would you be able to just share that again? So as we get started, I see some folks are already doing this, but please use the chat to share your name and your organization so we can get to know who you are and who's in the room today. So our agenda is going to be shared in the chat in just a minute if you hadn't had a chance to look at that. But we have a great lineup of speakers today. Before I jump into that, I just want to review what we shared on the May call. So we actually had kind of a two-part series for the May call. We had both a kind of cross-county food assistance provider call that we hosted in partnership with our friends at Montgomery County Food Council. And that was an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the emergency food assistance program, as well as about the work that our food councils do in Prince George's County and in Montgomery County. We also had a discussion with some of our county food assistance providers about needs and resource needs and kind of opportunities to support. As a follow-up to that discussion, we also will be hosting key informant interviews with food assistance providers. So I would love to speak with any of you that are interested in chatting with me more about anything related to bulk food purchasing or transportation challenges that you're seeing residents experiencing. So if anyone is interested in participating in a key informant interview, please do let me know. You can drop your name and your contact information in the chat if you're interested in speaking with us more, and I'll reach out. So please kind of keep your eyes out for any further information from me about that opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to get rolling here with our lineup of speakers. We have kind of a hodgepodge of topics today. So first, we're going to be hearing from Colton Naval from Find Help, which is a social service referral platform. Then we'll be hearing from Doug Murphy about Project Dash, which is a free delivery program for nonprofits hosted by DoorDash. And then we'll be hearing from Kara Panowitz about updates to school and summer meals. So following each of our presenters, we'll have a brief period for Q&A. So please kind of post your comments and your questions in the chat during our presenters, during these presentations, and then we'll be sure to address them after the presenters speak. And then, if you have anything else you want to share and take yourself off mute, feel free to do that after our presentations. Then at the very end, we always have some time for community announcements. So hopefully we'll have enough time for that. Like I said, we have a packed agenda. So please stay till the very end, and I'll be sure to close out by 2 p.m. sharp. And then if there's anything we don't get to on today's call, I'll be sure to send that out via email. So with that, I'm going to pass it to our first presentation, which will be Colton. And Colton, I'll be sure to give you screen sharing privileges if you don't already have access.
Oh, awesome. Let me see.
There we go.
I think I
should be able to.
Let's see here. Share. Alrighty. Can everyone see my screen okay? Oh my goodness, I'm not even on video. There we are. Did it work? I think it's sharing. Awesome. I'll go through this really fast just for the sake of time, but hello everyone. I'm really excited to be here actually. My name is Colton Naval. I work with a company called Find Help, specifically our main website, findhelp.org. I've met with Julia several times over the past few months, and really, again, just want to express my excitement and appreciation for being here today and the incredible work all of y'all do in Prince George's County, serving residents, within the county and then in the borders around the county too. Y'all's work is incredible. And so Julia really asked me to kind of present today on who we are and a bit more about how y'all can use us both as a resource to manage your own programs, but then also use it as a resource to find and connect the residents you serve with resources too. All right, so we start these kinds of things with our mission, which is to connect all people in need and the programs that serve them with dignity and ease. We believe as a company, in our philosophy and in our practice, that any person who's in need of assistance should be able to easily find assistance, but then also deserves the dignity of a response to those requests for help. And really the company was spun out with this idea that I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with here, where you have a person on the left here looking for services on the right, but then oftentimes getting in touch, connecting, getting the help you need from that program looks like this complicated zigzag line, right?
Hey,
And so
Colton,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Are you
Yeah.
sharing your slides, because we can just see your like Zoom screen?
What? Yes, I am. Thanks
Okay.
for letting me know. Weird.
Unless it's
How's
just
that?
my end. There we go. Yep.
Apologies, everybody. There were slides, but we'll continue plugging along. But yeah, so I'm glad that you all at least get this visual of the zigzag, because I think this actually does like illustrate all of the kind of different factors that go into finding help, right? Is it, what are my eligibility requirements? What documents do I need? Where is this program? What services do they provide? Finding all this information in a detailed and simple way is a lot more difficult than it should be. And so what we're doing as a company is making this process easier. So, streamlining it, allowing folks to search for relevant programs based on zip code, browsing across different types of social care categories, and then directly connecting with that program. So this is a little quick screenshot of our main page. I'm actually going to hop over into a live demo here in a second, but really just to kind of have a baseline understanding of what we are. We're an online directory of free and reduced cost direct social care services. We are free, 100% free. Everything I'm talking about today is free. We're free for anyone to go in and find programs. We're free for organizations and providers like you to claim program cards, add program cards, and then get access to a bunch of free tools and features, including data reports. And then, just to kind of emphasize our program coverage, I believe, actually it's a little over this at this point, but we're just over 1,300 programs per zip code across US and US territories. So quite a lot to unpack and find. So I'm actually going to just hop over now, and I'm going to drop a link to find help here in the chat in case there are folks here who would like to follow along with me. This Zoom bar is annoying. I need it to move. Okay, here we go. So here is the kind of main page. When you navigate to findhelp.org, this is like what you're going to see, right? Just this kind of search and connect to support. It prompts you to type in a zip code. Check the chat here, make sure. Okay, awesome. Thanks, actually. I was worried that maybe my screen went wonky, but I think it's all good. Before I kind of type in a zip code, and actually, one thing I wanted to draw y'all's attention to is the fact that I'm not logged in. There's no login required. You don't need to be invited in. There's no contract or anything. You can just go to findhelp.org and start browsing for services. The second thing to draw attention to is our select language option here at the bottom. Through Google Translation Services, we actually can translate the site into over 100 different languages. So if you're helping someone who doesn't speak English as a first language, or maybe just is more comfortable browsing in their primary language, the site can be translated into all of these different languages you see here. And then thirdly, from here, is the zip code search. So right from here, I can go ahead and type in a zip code. I'm going to ask, folks on the call to drop in a zip code. Whoever does it first, I will use that zip code. So feel free to propose a zip code and I'll start showing you resources in that area. And while I'm waiting for some chat, oh, thanks, Karen. Okay, never mind. We'll go ahead and paste that zip code here. So I'm going to click search. And this is really where we start our search into finding those geographically relevant resources, right? So we have our Capitol Heights zip code here, that 20743 zip code. And y'all can see that we have nearly 2,500 programs that are available to residents living in the zip code, right? That's quite a lot. This is pulling in programs that may only, so a lot of you are local food providers in specific areas within Prince George's County. So it could be programs that are specific to that zip code that, you're only serving residents in this particular area. But this is also pulling in programs at the state level, right? So programs that are offered, by maybe the Maryland Department of Social Services, for example, programs that are available, provided at the state level, but that are offered and available to folks in zip code. And then it also brings in federal and national programs. So this number is reflective of those kind of three tiers, both federal, state, and local programs. That's quite a lot. And as you can tell, it starts prompting you with this arrow right up here to begin drilling down and specifying the specific types of program you're looking for. So right at the top, you can see that we have these 10 categories of service, right? So you can hover over and drill down and start browsing for key terms based on our sort of typology of terms here. But you can also, for the most part, folks can use this search tool right at the top to type in a new zip code, type in a keyword, type in the name of an organization, type in the name of the program if they know it. But it's also just fine to type in any sort of key term that comes to mind. So we can look at food support, right? So I'm going to type in food support, and it's going to spit out a quite a large number of programs based on my key term here. And maybe actually I'm going to just start with food as opposed to food support. That way we get kind of more comprehensive. And so as you can see here, it drilled down a bit because that support key term added in more program searches. So it is the key terms you type in will determine what programs get spit out. So from here, just wanted to draw y'all's attention to food. And here are some of the food resources we currently have listed in that 20743 zip code. And so, let me pause here. I see something that's popped in the chat. Is there a way to filter by languages? For example, program that serves. Absolutely, Rosalind. And I'm glad you brought that up because I almost just skipped over this piece. So even though we went from that 1,000 number to 181, that's still quite a bit of programs, right? So you can actually start using these filters here at the top to drill down and filter out on specific criteria. So if you want to filter out on specific characteristics of the person you're helping, you can absolutely filter here by clicking personal filters. Similarly with program filters, here's where you can actually filter out specific information related to the program itself. And so Rosalind, Rosalind, just want to make sure I got your name right. That option to select a specific language is available right here under that program communicates in. I do want to draw a distinction between translating the site into the language and then specifying whether or not the program communicates in that language. So just kind of be careful if you're helping someone who's from Cambodia, you're translating the site into Khmer. The site itself will translate into Khmer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the program or someone at that organization will be able to communicate in Khmer. Again, that sort of functionality happens when you're filtering out based on program filter criteria. We also have income eligibility. This is always the same. So, how many people, household size, household income. And then finally, you can sort by relevance or closest. Relevance is the default. And what that's doing is it's matching the most relevant information related to your specific search term, to your specific zip code. So if you're wanting to look at what's more geographically close, you can click closest and it'll sort based on distance to that specific zip code as well. The last thing I'll say about filters too is that they're dynamic. And what I mean by that is that depending on what search term you've used, it will change the filter options here. So just be aware that you may not always see those different filter options. And Rosalind, to your point about like specifying the program language, if you type in a key term that's like conflict resolution, for example, spits out conflict resolution programs, but then you're not seeing the option to specify if that program communicates in that language. It's simply because those programs themselves, somewhere in the program card, have not indicated that they provide a language service. So just another quick note on drilling down, if you see this program communicates an option, it means that there are different language options available based on the programs that you've searched for, but that it won't always be the case that you'll see this option pop up because again, these filters are related to what your search terms are. Let me pause right here really quick and see if folks have anything, any questions or anything. Bearing in mind time, I'm going to keep kind of moving along here just to kind of show, but want to make sure that the filter part, the zip code part, the language translation of the site versus the program communicating in a language makes sense. I also talk fast and ramble, so just want to make sure I'm being clear. Awesome. Okay, I'm not seeing anything come through the chat, but if stuff comes through, I'm happy to address it. Let me orient y'all around these program cards just to give y'all kind of a bit more as to like what this is and where we get information, et cetera, et cetera. So here we have our food options. I've sorted by closest. I'm going to go back to relevance. A couple of things. First, we are a program first company, meaning that we list by program, not by organization. So I believe this is a good example of that. You'll notice that we have multiple entries for Food and Friends here, right? And that is simply because, again, we list by program and not by provider. And the reasoning behind that is just because for the person seeking help, it just makes more sense to have that program be like the first thing that people are finding, as opposed to just like, okay, here's Food and Friends. Now I need to like either know Food and Friends provide services or click Food and Friends and then look at their like offerings. It just takes away from that simplicity of finding a service. So that's why we list by program first. So from here, you can see that we have Groceries to Go by Food and Friends, Home Delivered Meals by Food and Friends, Chew by Food and Friends. If I actually click on Food and Friends, what it's going to do is it's going to show me all of the programs offered by Food and Friends, regardless of zip code. So kind of a workaround there, if you're searching for programs and you're interested in knowing what other programs a provider offers, you can always just click the name of the provider and it will pull up again all of the programs that organization provides, regardless of zip code. So kind of a little hack there in case you're interested in looking at, again, what other programs an organization provides that may not necessarily be in that zip code search that you've specified. I'm going to hop back here. And so the other bit I wanted to draw your attention to is that was the provider. When I click on the program name, it's going to pull up a full page view of information that we have on this program. So if you're wanting to like that full page kind of printable view, you can always just click on the name of the program. However, all of that information that I just clicked on here, then it pulled up that big page. If you click more info here, you can look at all of that information directly from this kind of like list view so that you're not having to click multiple places and have multiple tabs open if you don't want to. And what the program information here details is any eligibility criteria, any availability, description of what that program offers, any languages that they can provide, costs, next steps, all of that information that a person would need or want to know about a program, including, what are the coverage areas, locations, office locations, et cetera, et cetera. There are a couple of options for sharing this program too. So let's say that you see this program, you're browsing it, you're helping a client who's walked in maybe to your food pantry, they're looking for other resources. You can share this with them directly right from the site. You can send them an email, you can send them a text message, and you can even translate that message into one of those 100 different languages. And what's really cool about this feature is that, let's say you're helping someone who speaks Croatian. When you send them that message, it's going to automatically translate for them. So when they receive it, either text or email, the message will be in Croatian. They'll receive a link to the program that you're sharing. And when they click that link, the site will automatically translate into Croatian for them, or any language that you specify. So just another cool way to kind of meet people where they're at and really help them with that dignity and ease piece, right? Being able to kind of meet them where they're at in terms of what language they speak is such a simple but powerful way to really be able to get folks connected with the resources that they need, or at least understand what resources are available to them within an area. You can also, of course, share on Facebook. I think that'll pop up as y'all can see, like, oh, log in and share. But I think the text and email are some of the most common ones, but just wanted to flag that as an option. If you're noticing that information's out of date, so say, for example, you frequent Groceries to Go, maybe you know that their address has changed, or that maybe their hours have changed. Members of the public can anybody can suggest a change directly from here. All we need is your email address, and then you can type in that message about, hey, their hours have changed. And then you'll click submit, or send, and that'll go to our data team and they'll review it and ensure that it's accurate and then publish that update. So on that data team piece, really quick, because I know we get a lot of questions around how do we get these programs listed? Where are we getting programs? 3 ways. One is we have a dedicated data team who are every day researching and finding programs and posting them on our site, right? We want as many programs. We want people to be able to use our site and trust that they can type in a zip code and find resources. So we have no limits to the amount of programs we'll list as long as it meets our criteria of being a direct, free or reduced cost social care service. Secondly, anybody can suggest a program right here at the bottom. So in addition to our in-house data team kind of finding programs and posting programs, anybody can suggest a program here at the bottom of any of our pages. You click suggest program, type in the name of the program or the provider, click search. It'll do a quick search to verify that we don't have that program already listed. And then once we do, you'll just provide a few bits of additional information, click send, and then that will go to our data team. They'll review it, ensure it meets our criteria, and then we'll post it within 2 business days. So that's another way of getting programs listed. In terms of keeping information up to date, this kind of ties back to that suggest change feature. So there are 3 main ways that we keep program information up to date. One is directly by our in-house data team. They have a goal to review programs every 6 months. It's not perfect because of the volume of programs we have, but we do have different automated ways of checking and ensuring that we're keeping program information up to date as frequently as possible. The second way, as I already mentioned, is that folks can directly suggest changes as well. So again, any member of the public can suggest a change. Our data team won't automatically make that change happen just because because Jane or Joe Schmo suggested a change. They're actually going to do that extra research and legwork to ensure that that's actually a verified change that they can post. Third, y'all as people that work at these organizations can claim your program card. And basically that's our fancy way of saying creating a Find Help account and linking it with your program card to be able to edit it yourself, keep it up to date yourself. And that's what also unlocks all of those additional tools and features and wonderful data reports that you get access to. And all of that is free. And I'm going to kind of, I know that I'm reaching the end of my time here. And so the one thing I do want to emphasize about this kind of claiming and what I mean by that, because I think it's important to kind of mention for this group, and especially if y'all are interested in, we'd love to have program. If you see that you're not captured on here, we would love to have your program listed, especially because, there's no cost. There's really it's going to be no barrier for you to get your program listed, right? Let me go back to that food search, right? Because what I want to show y'all is what claiming means. So as you see food and friends, right? There are these check marks in the top right corner of the card. That when you see a check mark on a program card, that means that someone at that organization has claimed that program card. They've taken ownership of the program card. They're keeping information up to date. And in some cases, they're turning on our intake tool. So Food and Friends is a great example. They've actually set this up to be able to receive our one-step referral piece. So as Julia mentioned, and I'm not going to touch too much on this today, given the time frame, but findhelp.org works on many levels. One is as a search and kind of connect database, right? An online directory. You can, as you just saw, type in a zip code, search, find resources. Boom, done. On the other level, we offer the flexibility and choice for any organization or provider to freely use our tools and features if they're interested in using this as an intake method. And what I mean by that is that any organization can go in after they've claimed, turn on a tool, and have people connect with them directly. And then they'll be able to manage and track those referrals directly in the system, right? I'm going to keep scrolling and going back to the claim thing. So here you can see that this particular program is not claimed. There's no check mark in the quarter. And again, all this means is that this particular program has not been claimed by someone at Catholic Charities of Washington. And I will say that they actually have a lot of, I'm kind of rambling here because they do have some programs that they've claimed, some aren't. But again, the whole piece here is we'd love to have y'all suggest programs if you see they aren't listed on here. And if you do see that your program is listed, we'd love to have y'all claim it so that y'all can, be able to take ownership over that program card, be able to update it on your own, be able to, again, access all of these free tools and features that we offer. And so, yeah, I'm going to pause there. I see that there have been some questions popping up in the chat. And I definitely want to leave time for y'all to ask questions here too. I've also mentioned to Julia, and the last thing I'll say in terms of follow-up, I am always willing to connect with folks. So if y'all have questions or want to kind of talk about this specifically, like one-on-one, I'm happy to share my meeting link after this. Y'all can click it, set up time with me at any point. You also feel free just to email me and reach out. We can chat through anything. That's a huge part of why I love my job, is just getting to learn all about the wonderful work y'all do and how we can best support you on the findhelp.org platform. And again, there's no mandate that you have to claim. There's no mandate that you need to use any of our tools in order to be able to claim. Because again, our whole thing is meeting folks where they are and really ensuring that y'all have the choice and the flexibility to use Findhelp in a way that makes sense for your organization. I'm going to check the chat really quick and just see what's popping up. Oh, okay, I see. It was just an agenda, and Miss Jane here sharing her info. But I'll pause here. And the other thing, the last thing I'm going to mention is that I am working with Julia to kind of streamline and systematize the food resource database on the Prince George's Food Equity Council website, and capture some of those programs and information on Findhelp too, to kind of better have other entry points and other ways of being able to promote and share and provide that kind of dedicated resource directory to the Prince George's community.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. You guys all received my emails, and you know our kind of old school Google Doc that we keep updated with all of your food assistance provider sites. But we would love to work more closely with Findhelp to streamline this a bit further. Like Colton mentioned, they have a whole kind of like data team that does kind of checks these sites every day. They have much more capacity, I will say, than we do with our small team. So it would be a really, really great opportunity to kind of streamline our efforts a little bit more. I do see another question in the chat. So yes, the Findhelp does include other organizations outside of Prince George's. Colton, anything else to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, y'all, please don't feel limited to just your own zip code. I mean, as providers, that makes sense in terms of claiming and keeping information up to date. But as just like using the site to find resources, maybe y'all have relatives in Alaska. Y'all can type in an Alaska zip code right here, click search and find resources. We cover the entire continental US as well as US territory. So we have coverage in Puerto Rico, US Virgin Islands, et cetera, et cetera. And then the last thing I'll say to Julia's point, like we're already doing this work, right? We're already finding programs, keeping stuff up to date, posting, listing. We want this, you know, and there will never be a cost for y'all to manage your programs on the site. There will never be a cost to add programs. You can have as many people as you want claim your programs too. So it's not just on like one person to take ownership and be the admin. You can have as many people as you want. And I also want to caution that like when you claim, it's not going to automatically make you the default contact. We're not going to share your email address. We're not going to put your name on the program card, and you're not going to receive emails about, you know, you're not going to receive emails, you know, unless you enable that and set that up. We don't default to that. And so I just wanted to, you know, if you're hesitating on claiming because you feel like it's going to add a bunch of work, it's not. It's literally just going to ensure that you have the access to your program card on the findhelp.org site. And there's a lot of stuff here I didn't cover, and I'm going to shut up in just one more second. I kind of created this. We have this favorites folder option, and what I mean by that is that you're able to create your own custom list of resources. I did this like a light version for PG County. Where is it? Here it is. So as y'all can see, this is I've started kind of putting in a few programs into my own favorites folder that I can then reference. So here we have a lot of those providers in that resource network database that I can quickly just go back and reference. So I'm going to stop here. Please feel free to reach out to me after today. I'd love to meet with any and all of y'all and talk more about how this best works for you, and can talk through more specifics around how to do certain things on the site. But
Great.
really, oh yeah, I'll stop.
Thanks. No
Thanks.
worries. Thank you so much, Colton. And I wish we had more time. Ethel, do you have a really quick question before we switch over to Doug for the next
yeah,
room?
mine is very quick. I know you used to be Aunt Bertha. Did you
Yes.
transfer the data over into Find Help?
Yes, we did. So
Okay.
we are like Find Help is Aunt Bertha. We just rebranded our name because it made more sense with what we do. And to the question about how long we've been in business, since 2011, but really took off with COVID. So yeah, thanks everybody for your time, and please feel
Thanks
free
so
to reach
much.
out to me.
We really appreciate it. If folks want to like do another kind of group call with Colton or anyone else from Find Help, you know, give us a thumbs up or chime in the chat. We're happy to help coordinate that, or feel free to reach out to Colton individually if you want to talk about your specific programs. But we're happy to kind of be the facilitator for that if it's helpful to have like all of our food assistance providers in Prince George's County come together on another follow-up call, because I know there's more information to share. But we do have a lot to get to on our agenda, so I want to be sure we give Doug Murphy from DoorDash's Project Dash program some time to share a little bit more about what they're working on. So Doug, I will hand it off to you for the next section.
Great. Thank you, Julia. I am so happy to be able to join you today. What I am going to tell you about is Project Dash, which is donated deliveries that DoorDash is making as one of our company's primary philanthropic efforts. What I'm going to talk you through is we have a very flexible program. We work with hundreds and hundreds of partners across the country, setting up different programs for them. We have 3 basic requirements for organizations who would like to join and take advantage of these donated deliveries. So I'm going to focus my time talking on those 3 basic requirements today, as well as some frequently asked questions. But really, this is intended to be more as a teaser, because if you are interested in taking advantage of those deliveries, then we will invite you to a more in-depth information session where you can ask all the questions that you would like at that time, because I know that there is a bit that goes into delivery. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, is everyone seeing a Project Dash overview?
Looks good.
Great. So like I said, we can deliver anything. We do USDA food, we do groceries, including perishables, we do prepared meals, we deliver just about anything for so many different organizations. Basic requirement number 1 is we need to make sure that it's not too heavy. All of these requirements that I'm talking about are intended to make sure that Dashers love doing these deliveries for you. So anyone that's familiar with DoorDash probably knows that Dashers have a choice of what they deliver every day. We give them options on different deliveries they can take, and they choose if they're going to take those or not. To make these programs run super successfully, we want to make sure that Dashers really love doing deliveries for you. So the first ingredient to that recipe is making sure that we're not asking them to lift too much. So if you are doing distribution, say 50 pounds of food in a banana box today, no problem, we can do that delivery for you. You just have to split it up into 2 separate boxes so that the Dasher isn't lifting too much. And we can deliver as many packages as you would like. So we have many partners where we do thousands of deliveries every day. We can take 10 25-pound boxes to a single household if you would like us to. We do understand that USDA food oftentimes exceeds this weight limit, and that is fine. We typically find that in most states, the way that the CSFP and TPAP boxes are packed, our Dashers don't have any difficulty handling that. Second requirement is distance. So Dashers are local delivery people. They tend to prefer to stay close to home. So we have learned that if we keep to a 10-mile delivery radius, that also makes these deliveries very attractive for Dashers. The road miles can be further. So anywhere that we are picking up from, we can deliver within a 10-mile radius from that location. Even if we have to drive 11, 12, 13 miles to get there, that is totally fine. And you can use as many pickup points as you would like. So many of our partners have us picking up from multiple facilities. Many of our partners have us picking up from their mobile pantries. Many of our partners will take a panel van or a box truck to a parking lot, and we can pick up from there to deliver to your clients from that location. The final requirement is a minimum number of deliveries that we need you to do for your program to be successful. We ask you to come to the program with a plan to deliver a minimum of 50 bags or boxes per week on average, but that doesn't have to be every week. So that could be like 100 bags and boxes every 2 weeks, or 200 bags and boxes every 4 weeks. Now, why are these minimums critical? Because this helps to make sure that Dashers in your local area become familiar with this program. While we do over 50,000 nonprofit deliveries every day, it is a very small part of our business. So we need minimum volumes in your area so that Dashers become accustomed to these deliveries being done versus their typical restaurant and retail deliveries that they would be doing. Secondly, we want to make sure that Dashers get very well paid for these deliveries. There is no cost to you, there is no cost to your client, and there is no tipping as part of this program. However, we are still paying the Dashers, and we are going to pay them per box or bag that they deliver. So by you reaching these delivery minimums, that makes sure that we are going to fill Dasher vehicles and make sure that this is one of the best earning opportunities that they have. The third reason that we ask you to meet these delivery minimums is because this gives you the opportunity to meet a lot of Dashers. Every Dasher that you meet, you're going to have the opportunity to say, you know what, I would like to work with this person going forward, or you know what, maybe this wasn't the right fit for my program. And so that helps you build out your customized pool of Dashers, which is going to feel like an extension of your own team within a short period of time. I get a lot of questions when I talk about these minimums. So I have an example that I'm going to share with you really quickly. So this is a pantry that is providing 5 boxes and bags to their clients. They're doing a box of shelf-stable items, a box of produce, a bag of frozen, bag of refrigerated, and a bag of personal care cleaning items. If they are doing those 5 boxes and bags and they're delivering to 10 clients per week on average, then they are meeting the requirements for this program. So again, it is strictly about the number of bags and boxes. That is what determines how we pay the Dashers. It has nothing to do with the number of Dashers that we are sending out, the number of pickups. We could take, you doing those 50 boxes every week, they can go to 1 client, they can go to 50 clients. To us, that doesn't factor into these minimums. We determine the routes, we determine the number of drop-offs. The final FAQs that I want to go through with you is that, like I said, there is no cost to you or your clients. There are no tips. This is funded by DoorDash as a philanthropic effort. We do vet all of our Dashers very carefully. We do regular background checks on all of our Dashers. We have a higher standard for Dashers to participate in this program because we do understand that they may be interacting with vulnerable members of the community. So we have an elevated minimum star ratings that Dashers must maintain in order to participate in this program. And we make sure that they have no negative client interactions in the past. The way that you request these deliveries is through a spreadsheet that you provide to us. You just basically tell us how many items are we picking up, what time are we picking them up, and where are we taking them to? And we take care of everything else from there. You give us that spreadsheet anytime, but at least 1 hour prior to when you would like us to do those pickups. We do not participate in your intake process at all. This has nothing to do with the DoorDash app. Again, you are going to tell us the deliveries that you would like us to make. The deliveries are typically completed in 1 hour or less. The options that we have available to you for these deliveries include calling or texting the client, bringing the items inside the client's home. We can take electronic signatures, or we can also do contactless deliveries, in which case we'll take a picture of the items where we have left them and share that with both you as well as your client. And finally, we do take great steps to make sure that your client's data is carefully protected throughout this process. And so, like I said, the purpose of me being here today is to give you a little teaser. We are growing very, very quickly. We would love to have additional organizations join us. But I think to make that decision, you probably want the opportunity to get more of an in-depth picture and to ask questions. So we will be hosting a future information session if you just want to let Julia know if you're interested in that, and you'll get the invite for that future session.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing this program. This is a really exciting opportunity, and I know a lot of our organizations and food assistance providers are going to be interested. So please do let me know if you want to join a future information session. We do have another presentation after this, but I just want to open this up to a couple minutes for questions. If anyone has any questions for Doug.
Is it possible for food assistance providers to collaborate in order to meet the 50 requirement?
In practice, we haven't really seen that working very well, to be honest with you. If you are able to collaborate with additional agencies and to make it look to us like you are a single agency, then that's fine. But there's not really any way to kind of like trick the system. You would have to basically have all of your deliveries coming from the same place, and you would have to be set up under a single DoorDash account for something like that to work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Good question, Ethel. It sounds like some kind of coordination with providers could be possible, though, as long as there's one central pickup place. Anything else?
Yes. Is there a minimum miles they can travel?
No, not at all. So we do have partners that may have a senior complex that's very close by, but they could use our help actually taking them to the individual seniors units. So sometimes we're doing like going across the street basically to do deliveries for our partners. If that is helpful for you, we're happy to do that. Was that your question?
No, wondering if they can go 20 miles, 30 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, within what radius?
No, there's a 10-mile delivery radius, but we can pick up from anywhere. So as I mentioned earlier, many of our partners will take a box truck or a panel van to a parking lot that's closer to where the need for delivery is, and our dashers are happy to pick up and deliver from there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great question. Anything else? Okay, well, with that, I'll say more to come. Doug, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this information. Yeah, please reach out to me if you're interested in learning more and joining that information session. And we'll be sending out additional information via our call notes per usual. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand it over. Thanks so much. I'm going to hand it over to Kara from No Kid Hungry to share, share our strength, to share a little bit more about school meal updates and summer meals.
Yeah, so I'm Kara. I'm with No Kid Hungry Maryland, which is part of Share Our Strength. I just wanted to jump on for a few minutes and make sure you all know about the summer meals program. I mean, it's been happening for years, but I know there are staff changes and things look a little different this year because waivers have expired. So one of the most important things is where to find these sites. The best way, I think, is to go to mdsummermeals.org. I can put this stuff in the chat later. And I can also share some outreach materials with Julia to send out to all of you that you can use on social media or send in emails. If you go to mdsummermeals.org, you're going to be able to plug in an address and then choose whether you want a 1 mile radius, 50-mile radius, whatever it is, to give you a really good overview. So you could potentially look at like all of Prince George's County and see where sites are, or go much more locally to a neighborhood or things like that. If you go there now, there will be sites up, but I just want to make sure everyone knows that sites are still being added. So if you look a week from now, there might be more sites than there are right now, since we aren't quite at the end of the school year. And I know Prince George's County ends a little bit later this year than normal. But that's a really good place to go. You can also call 211 and they can give you the same information, which is sometimes easier for folks to do. But I think that that website, at least for you guys as providers, can give you a good idea of what's available, what's out there. The other thing I can give to Julia to share out with all of you is if you're interested in being an actual site that serves summer meals, I can send some information about that. The thing that's really frustrating this summer is since the pandemic had started, the sites were allowed to give grab and go meals and the child didn't have to be there. The parent could come pick them up. Some of you probably already know about this. That is not the case this summer, at least as of now. It's going back to how it was pre-pandemic for summer meals, which means the child has to be there and the child has to eat most of the meal actually on the site, which is really unfortunate. We've been advocating to try and get that changed for months now. There is a little bit of a caveat to that. If the site shuts down due to COVID issues, then they can do grab and go, but it's like a case by case basis. So unfortunately, things are a little bit different going into the summer. But that's basically it. I just wanted to jump on, make sure folks know that that's available for families in your communities. Most sites, you can serve either breakfast and lunch or breakfast and supper. A lot of sites do both, some just do lunch. But if you go onto that website, or if you call 211, they can tell you which meals are actually available, at what time they'll be available as well. And then if anyone's interested in potentially being a site, or if you know of folks or places that might want to be a site, you can reach out to me and I can help connect you to a sponsor who would coordinate all of the meal service. They take care of basically all of the coordination of it for the actual site. And I'll put in my email address in the chat also. Did anyone have any questions about it right now? I'm happy to also talk with folks later one-on-one.
Kara, this is really helpful. I have a quick question. I know you guys had been operating a text and call line. Is that still in operation? Or are you recommending folks use 211 instead?
The texting number is still working. If I'm being quite honest, suggest doing the website or 211, because 211 uses the website as their source. And I just think that that's more up to date and sometimes a little bit more accurate. But you can use the texting number too, which is, I think it's 304. It's on the material that I'll send to you, Julia, all the ways that you can find where sites are.
Okay, perfect. And 211 is a great resource for other things as well. So, you know, if you don't know this already, please refer that number to your clients because they pull from other food assistance resources, that same food assistance resource that we share out. That's where they get their information. So if folks are looking for other kind of service sites, they should be able to help them. Any other questions for Kara?
Thanks for letting me chat with you today.
Sorry?
Thanks for letting me chat with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Please feel free to reach out to me or Kara if you're interested in being one of these sites. We're happy to connect you, and I'll be sure to share more information out with the notes. Awesome, thanks so much. Okay, well, I see we did that very quickly. So we do have a few more minutes for community updates. So I'm just going to jump back over to our agenda. I know I kind of monopolized the community updates with our FEC updates. So I'll just quickly skim through those and then we can open it up to everyone else. But like I mentioned, we will be hosting these key informant interviews with food assistance providers that are interested in speaking with our team about issues related to bulk food purchasing and transportation challenges you see clients are facing. So if you're interested in participating in a key informant interview, I would love to speak with you or have one of my team members speak with you. So please do drop your name and your contact information in the chat if you're interested in chatting with us. You'll probably receive an email from me regardless with information so we can connect with you more. The other thing I wanted to share is the FEC will be hosting a candidates forum for folks running for county council. So this forum will be an opportunity for these candidates to speak about issues related to food and farming. So the forum will be hosted on June 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. So we are encouraging you all to participate, to join us. This will be virtual. So the link in the agenda, and I can also drop it in the chat, is to sign up for the event via Eventbrite. So let me just drop that. Oh, let's see. I see Heaven already did. Thank you so much. So please sign up for that. If you're interested in joining us as a sponsor for the event, we would love to have you. I've also included a sponsor sign-up form in the agenda. By sponsoring this event, it really just means that you're helping us with promotion and outreach and sharing our flyers. So it's a great opportunity to participate, but it's not too heavy a lift. So Heaven, if you're also able to share that, perfect. Heaven just dropped the link to that sign-up form in the chat if any of your organizations are interested in sponsoring. I've also included the flyer in the agenda. If you just want to help share that out with your networks, I would greatly appreciate that. And then lastly, I'm just gonna say that our food assistance provider calls for a long time have been kind of coordinated and facilitated by a small group, which we call our food assistance provider support group. We are recently relaunching that group. I know some of our support group members are on this call right now. And we're really looking for opportunities to support these calls and the work that the providers do in the county. So we're really looking for ideas on what we could focus on as a group. So if you have any ideas, if there's anything specific that you would love this group to support your organization with, please let us know. You can drop any ideas in the chat, or even if you're interested in participating in this group, we'll be meeting monthly or maybe every other month as a group to kind of discuss ideas. So it'll be kind of like a smaller coordinating group to support these calls and the work that you all do. So I know we have a few members of that support group on these calls. So if there's anyone else that wants to chime in about that ask or kind of what we're looking for, please do. And if not, we can open it up to other community announcements from anyone else in our last few minutes.
Yeah.
Can I see one more time?
But yeah.
Going once, going twice. Okay, looks like we got through everything. So I am just gonna lastly say that I totally forgot my manners and forgot to introduce our two new team members with the Food Equity Council. So we have Heaven Jordan and also Scarlett Castro, who have recently joined us with the FEC. And so we're really excited to have them on board. Heaven's been helping with notes in the chat. So you'll see more of them moving forward, but we're really super excited to be growing our small team. So welcome Scarlett and Heaven. Awesome. Okay, so just to wrap up, so our next meeting will be on July 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. We hope that you'll join us then. If you're not already on our email list, please sign up. We've included the sign up for a mailing list in the agenda. If you're not already on our Google group, please also sign up for that. You have all that information in the agenda, and we'll be sending out our notes, the recording, and the slides from our presenters following this call. So please keep your eyes out for that. As well as the other kind of usual updates we'll send out via our Google group. And again, I hope that you can all join us on June 23rd for our candidates forum. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to hear from candidates running for county council. And if not, then I'll see you at our next call on July 7th. Thanks so much and hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.